The U.S. and NATO prepare for war as Russia threatens the United States and NATO. At the same time, President Donald Trump announces a major peace agreement. Will it hold? I'll let you hear from President Donald Trump directly here in this video. Also, government shutdown details. Will military members get paid? We got some major news here in this video, and I got all the details for you guys here. So let's jump right in. We are live right now here on the YouTube It's Jimmy Show. Let me know if you can see and hear me. Type yes in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. You can let me know your city, state, or even your country, as we have people tuning in here from all around the globe. Don't forget to hit that like button for me here, and if you haven't yet, subscribe down below so you don't miss out on future videos. I will keep you up to date and help me reach 500,000 subscribers. So, President Donald Trump says that there is a peace deal between Israel and Hamas involving Gaza. Here's what he has to say here. Take a listen.
Tonight we reached a momentous breakthrough in the Middle East, something that people said was never going to be done. We ended the war in Gaza and really, on a much bigger basis, created peace. And I think it's going to be a lasting peace, hopefully an everlasting peace. Peace in the Middle East. We secured the release of all of the remaining hostages, and they should be released on Monday or Tuesday. Getting them is a complicated process. I'd rather not tell you what they have to do to get them.
One day, perhaps the entire story will be told about the events of yesterday, but suffice it to say, it's not an exaggeration that none of it would have been possible without the President of the United States being involved. Yesterday, what happened was really a human story. There's a geopolitical aspect to it, there's no doubt about it. It creates the conditions for Gaza to one day be a normal place again and people to have a better life and Israelis to be safe. But yesterday was a human story. And because of the work you put in, and honestly, not only is there no other leader in the world that could have put this together, Mr. President, but frankly, I don't know of any American president in the modern era that could have made this possible because of the actions you have taken unrelated to this and because of who you are and what you've done and how you're viewed. And this weekend, because of that, at some point very soon, we are going to see 20 living human beings emerge from the darkness into the light for the first time in 2 years. And that is because not only were you used the credibility and the power and the prestige of this office and the relationships you created, and you committed yourself to making it happen. And I think it will go down as a historic moment in the history of our country and something our country should be very proud of.
So President Donald Trump says that the hostages will likely be released early next week as the Israeli government votes on the Gaza ceasefire. However, there are several hurdles that remain, including Israel partially withdrawing from Gaza and Hamas freeing all remaining hostages in exchange for hundreds of prisoners held by Israel. The Israeli minister says he will vote against the ceasefire resolution because he said that he and other ministers in the far-right Otzma Yedhut party, quote, will not be able to raise our hands in favor of a deal that releases those murderous terrorists, and we will oppose it in our government, but that they were filled with joy and happiness about the possible return of the hostages, but they don't want to release the people, the Hamas terrorists, quote, that attacked Israel over 2 years ago. He said, quote, if the Hamas rule is not dismantled, or if they only tell us that it is dismantled while in reality it will continue to exist under a different guise, that their group, Otzmat Yedhut, will dismantle the government. So, as you see here, this is very complicated stuff on both sides, and even if this peace agreement holds and everything goes through and it actually finalizes, there's going to be people unhappy because of the terms, no matter what. But ultimately, ending the war will be good if it happens. Meanwhile, NATO weighs an armed response to Vladimir Putin's hybrid war. NATO, the United States included, weighing armed responses to Russia and Vladimir Putin. Yeah, this comes here as Putin's ally issues a new warning to Donald Trump, calling it a fatal mistake. This comes from Nikolai Azarov, who was Ukraine's former prime minister who fled to Russia back in 2014, around when Russia took Crimea, issued a warning directed at President Donald Trump in an interview published on Russian state TV, TASS news agency, saying, quote, he's a Putin ally, he's on Russian state TV, saying, quote, "Dear Mr. Trump, you're making a fatal mistake right now. And it's not at all about the damage that the Tomahawks will inflict on Russia. Of course, there will be damage. This step turns to you from a possible mediator, a possible participant in negotiations, into siding with your enemies." He says this into respect on NATO and the United States considering giving Ukraine more and some long-range missiles that can strike deep into the heart of Russia and can actually fight back even more and hit actually some crucial targets, military targets, energy grid targets into Russia, and actually give them a taste of their own medicine that they have been doing to Ukraine for years now. President Donald Trump actually said in a Truth Social post last month that he thinks Ukraine, with the European Union's support, is, quote, in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form. The post came a little over a month after Trump and Putin met at a military base in Alaska, and Trump is realizing little by little that Vladimir Putin is not wanting peace and is literally just day by day, just defying Trump. This comes here as President Donald Trump also said on Truth Social, Russia has been fighting aimlessly for 3.5 years, a war that should have taken a real military power less than a week to win. Quote, "This is not distinguished Russia. In fact, it is very much making them look like a paper tiger," President Donald Trump wrote. This comes as Reuters reports that the U.S. will provide Ukraine with intelligence on long-range energy infrastructure targets inside of Russia, and if they get their long-range attack missiles, could then take them out. And Russia seems to be very concerned about this. Trump writes, quote, "When the people living in Moscow and all of the great cities, towns, and districts all throughout Russia find out what's really going on with this war, the fact that it's almost impossible for them to get gasoline through the long lines that are being formed, and all the other things that are taking place in their war economy, where most of their money is being spent on fighting Ukraine, which has great spirit and only getting better, Ukraine would be able to take back their country in its original form, and who knows, maybe even go further than that. Putin and Russia are in big economic trouble, and this is the time for Ukraine to act. In any event, I wish both countries well." Meanwhile, the U.S. government is still shut down and fails yet another vote in the Senate and sees no light of day for it coming to a resolution. There is a possible consideration for them to pass a bill that would actually provide military payments to military members, for military members to get paid even through a government shutdown. And some Republicans are actually breaking ranks. You can see here top GOP Republican defense appropriator breaks with House Leader Mike Johnson on shutdown troop pay. Representative Republican Ken Calvert, the House Republican in charge of defense funding, is throwing his weight behind a bipartisan bill that would allow members of the military to get paid during a government shutdown. It's something of an act of defiance against Republican leaders who are now saying they won't allow a vote on such a measure, arguing it's Democrats who are holding troop pay hostage by blocking passage of a clean stopgap spending bill in the Senate that includes service member salaries. So we will see. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump is actually deploying troops, National Guard troops, here in the United States yet again for the multipleth time. Take a look here.
This morning, the Texas National Guard are on duty in the Chicago area, marking their first mission since arriving in Illinois earlier this week over the objections of city and state leaders there.
I can't believe I have to say troop movements in a city in the United States, but that is what we're talking about.
With demonstrations protesting the federal deployment, local officials say the presence of those forces is only inflaming tensions. But President Trump argues National Guard troops in Chicago and Portland, Oregon, are critical to protect federal agents and property.
Everything we're doing is very lawful. What they're doing is not lawful.
Some tense encounters caught on camera.
What are your guys' names?
This right here.
Like Border Patrol agents near Chicago confronting a protest organizer recording their operations.
Well, I suggest you stop following us, all right? Otherwise, we're going to arrest you for impeding your harness.
I'm not impeding
No,
anything.
we're letting you know this is the first warning and last warning.
This morning, NBC News also learning White House officials are having increasingly serious discussions about President Trump invoking the Insurrection Act, which would allow deployment of active duty troops, according to 5 people with knowledge of the talks. The president also ratcheting up his threats against Illinois' Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker.
That guy's a loser.
Posting Pritzker and the Chicago mayor should be in jail for failing to protect ICE officers. President Trump apparently referring to this recent attack when an SUV rammed a vehicle full of ICE agents.
When you have a group of people where the police call off the safety for ICE officials, I've understood that, and I've read it today in numerous journals, that that's illegal.
Chicago police deny their officers were told to stand down. And Pritzker is defiantly responding to the president's threat of arrest.
Look, he's a coward. He says a lot of things to the camera. He likes to pretend to be a tough guy. Come and get me.
So pending the legal challenges, National Guard troops could move into Portland, Oregon within days, and in Memphis, Tennessee. The police chief there says troops could be deployed in his city by the end of this week, potentially marking 5 deployments of National Guard troops in major American cities, all of them led by Democrats in just the last 4 months.
Do you think the National Guard should be deployed in all these cities and even more cities yet to come? Yes or no? Let me know in the comment section right now. Now, the Medicare annual enrollment plan is coming up, and this means that everybody on Medicare has an opportunity to change their plan for 2026, and we know that there has been a lot of changes going on. So I will put a phone number on the screen here to call Chapter Medicare, who I highly recommend. They have helped so many of our viewers here. And I'll put a link down below in the pinned comment so you can check them out online if you prefer instead of calling them. As with these 2026 changes, you're definitely going to want to know about them and see if you're in the best plan and you're getting the best benefits, whether you're on Medicare or Medicare Advantage or Part D. So call Chapter to schedule an appointment now because they tend to get busy and you want to make sure that you're on the right plan, whether it's for you or a loved one, because you definitely don't want to be caught on the wrong plan coming up for 2026. If you haven't yet, subscribe down below so you don't miss out on future videos and click the bell icon so you get notifications, and share this video with other people. Share it on social media so other people can get this important information. Click here to see the Pentagon saying prepare for war, or click here to see a surprise Social Security raise announcement.